I want to talk about prosperity. This is something that I want most currently, that I haven't fully figured out.
Prosperity is a really important subject for most of you because it touches you all day long in so many different ways. So let's broaden the subject of prosperity just a little bit. Let's talk about it in terms of money. Let's talk about it in terms of clarity, in terms of connection to source energy. In other words, what prosperity is just being a vibrational match to wanted. Tailor it however you want. We're with you. Money.
I'm on the way there. A few months ago, I've attracted one of the best jobs I have ever had in my life. And my income got much better than before. But then after I'm exposed to that job, the people that I've met, oh my God, the abundance and the prosperity they have, I realized...
All right, now this is really good. So did you feel her? Did you feel how? And then she started to introduce something that has the potential of watering down. I witnessed those that are really prosperous, and the magnificence, the magnitude of their prosperity makes me feel what?
Small.
That's muting the vibration. That's changing something from certainty to probability or possibility. Now you recognize where your work is. Is your work to change your action? No. Your work is to... We're just going to give you some very carefully chosen by Esther words to the vibrations that we are very carefully choosing. So just relax and feel this. It will be helpful to all of you. So the prosperity feeling was really alive and well within you. Really, really good. And then you introduced into the subject, into the conversation, something that muted it just a little bit. Noticing that is the perfect opportunity to turn it back the other way. If you don't turn it back the other way, the law of attraction will take whichever of those vibrations is dominant within you, and it will run with that. So if feeling of smallness is more familiar to you, the thoughts that come will lead you that way. If this newfound prosperity is dominant within you, which it usually isn't, then it would take you that way. So it doesn't matter. All you need to know is, I could feel by my awareness of something, a diminishment of that high-flying vibration. I've just muted it. I've just introduced static into the equation, which I'm now going to clear up by deliberately choosing thoughts. So you could say something to yourself like, they all started like I am, and now look where they are. What does that do? Did that add to your smallness, or did that add to your confidence more?
Yeah, add to your confidence more.
It's just like that. I know the formula. I'll just apply it. So now the resistance isn't there. Quite often you all ask us, Abraham, you're schizophrenic. Sometimes you tell us that we should journal and that we should tell a new story, and sometimes you tell us to just shut up and feel what we're feeling. Which is it? Do we create a reality through our thoughts, or do we allow them through meditation? And we say, what you want to do is know when to turn on the gas and when not to. When to put the pedal to the metal, Esther's an old trucker, and when not to. Whichever feeling you feel you're leaning toward, that's when you want to add more to it. Things like, I have the best job I've ever had. Look how I attracted that. I didn't always have this, but I wanted it, and I thought about it, and I must have thought about it with enough no resistance, with enough allowing, that here it is. Here I find myself in this fantastic environment that I'm really good at and that I really like. Hear how all of these statements are shoring up. I'm in the right place at the right time, and your feeling of anticipation, and who knows where I'm going. The sky is the limit. I had no idea the possibilities. I'm so happy to be here and see all of these people so that I understand the possibilities. Their success and their evidence of getting more is something for me to focus upon to shore up my sense of certainty about this. If they can do it, I can do it. Things like that. Yes? We'll let you talk.
Yes. I thought about that for a while,
Yeah.
and then now the business is kind of expanding. I feel like a lot of times I can't figure it out the next logical step.
You don't have to. This is something really important to know. You don't have to figure out the next logical step. You just have to hold yourself in a vibrational environment where it can occur to you. Hear this. It won't be logical to you until you're a match to it. And what keeps you from being a match to it is always evidenced at the same time as negative emotion. That feeling of doubt is your indicator that you're not letting yourself be a match to the next logical step. This is big stuff. Are you taking this in? It's logical because you're on the same wavelength with it. Let's take it away from what's going on in your own mind, and let's talk about two people who are having a conversation. And you've had some experience with something. Let's see, what was it that Esther had an experience with the other day? She was watching someone on the airplane who had a big, beautiful purse. And she was sitting at the bulkhead, so she couldn't keep her purse. And apparently, she'd never sat there before and didn't know that. So it was shocking to her that she had to give up her purse. And so Esther had been sitting, and she could see that there was a space big enough for her purse over there. But the flight attendant was looking the other way and was trying to get her to cram it in up here. So she was worried about things falling out. Esther was too, because Esther was sitting right under all of it. And so Esther was just wanting to mind her own business, but it's not her nature. And so she was just sitting there sort of taking it all in. And the woman managed to get her purse sort of jammed into that, and then she couldn't close the bin. She couldn't close it. And Esther thought, just give it a good thunk. Because she'd see the flight attendant doing that, but she couldn't close it. So she went and got the flight attendant, and the flight attendant had her hands full of drinks, so she was not getting any time soon to this open cabinet. So Esther was prepared to catch anything that was going to fall out of it. And soon the flight attendant got finished, and she put the drinks down, and she came and she just gave it a good thunk. And Esther thought, good, because Esther really didn't want to get up and be involved in the thunking. The other day, Esther was with a friend. They came into the apartment building where they are living, and they get these codes on their phone that says you have a package. So you put your barcode under this shiny little red light, and a door in this amazing room of doors opens. Sometimes more than one door. It's so much fun. Package number 1, package number 2, package number 3. It's like instant manifestation if you were just born the moment that you walked into that room. And so there was a man that was there that got there before they did, and he had put his barcode under, and a large bin down there tried to open but couldn't. Tried to open but couldn't. And he tried it again, it tried to open, couldn't. And then it gave him an error message, which clogged up the whole thing for everybody. Now, he had an error message, so he needed to call someone. So he gets on the phone with someone who apparently has never been in that room. Somebody who apparently doesn't understand lockers or anything like it. Someone who said, "What is your tracking number?" And he said, "I don't know, I only have this one barcode." "Well, is it from a third-party carrier, or did it come from Amazon?" "I don't know. I can't see through the door. I don't know what's in there. I don't know which package it is." "Well, then, I need the tracking number." So Esther is thinking, then we all just have to die in this room, because he needs the tracking number and can't give it to him, and he needs the door open and he can't open the door. And so Esther said, "Abraham," and we went, and Esther said, "Try it now," and the door opened. So you have to be in the vicinity. You have to be in the vicinity. In other words, maybe kicking the door isn't the best idea. Maybe it's the only thing that will work right now. You all know what to do if you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You get impulses. You do it all the time. All of the time. Do any of you drive vehicles? When you're driving your vehicle, you do more intuitive, tuned in, tapped in, turned on responses to broader knowing than you have any idea that you do. You change lanes without knowing why. You exit at times without knowing why. You slow down and speed up without knowing why. You have broader perspective that knows, as we were talking about what's coming next. What's coming next. So the way that you are ready for the next logical step is you're just having a good time. Esther wasn't worried about that package. It wasn't her package. The man was worried about it. Esther is slightly annoyed with people on the other end of the phone that don't really know what they're doing. She does have some resistance to that, but she also has more confidence in her higher knowing. Esther knows where to get her answers, and most people are calling the helpline. You know where to get your answers. If you know where to get your answers, your inner being knows where you are in relationship to everything you want. Tune to that more often. And so what we're giving to you here is The only work that we would be doing if we are standing in your physical shoes would be to make sure that we are in the receptive mode, period. Just make sure you're in the receptive mode, period. What does that mean? Does that mean worry? That's not the receptive mode. Does that mean feel jealous? That's not the receptive mode. Does that mean be angry? That's not the receptive mode. What does it mean? Having fun, enjoying, feeling light about it, feeling ease about it, trust.
Absolutely. And sometimes
We are extremely well.
Thank you for bringing the chair up, because last time I almost fell.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah. No, we don't remember that. We really live in the now.
Yeah.
It just goes better. It would go better for all of you, too. Yeah. What's up?
2 questions.
Have you been in the hot seat before?
I have been in the hot seat before.
Doesn't seem fair, does it? Someone said, do you remember me? And we say, you're new every time. And what's up with you is new every time. So
Of course.
What's up with you?
I've had this thought lately. I don't know if it's come up if you've said it explicitly or directly, but do we see our lives before we come here? Do we see it like from back to front in
No,
such an
because
explicit
it hasn't
way?
happened yet. You're the creator of it. That would make it sound like it's already done and you're just here puppets on a string performing what somebody else created. That's not how it works at all. You create as you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
But do you see the options, or is there...
Well, your inner being, like what we just described ourselves, lives in the now. So none of us get too far out ahead of anything. We are taking in what's now and doing calibrations around that. A question like that comes usually from a human perspective who often is wanting to be prepared for what's coming. But there is an anticipation, an eager anticipation. So it's more general for most.
I think that's what I meant by that. Not like, oh, I see every little action, but sometimes when in your work, with this thought of everything's always working out for me, everything's going to work out.
Oh, you're sure about that? You know that you are a creator, and you know that this is a platform that is magnificent to create within. You know that there's a lot of variety, and you know that you'll be inspired. And you know before you even get into this physical body, in fact, you know it then more than you usually know it once you've been around a while. You know that you get to choose, and that through your choices, things come to you. You also know that it's not about the words you say, it's about the perspective you hold. It's about what you know about it. And you know that the law of attraction prevails, and that as you learn to calibrate your focus deliberately, that focus will be satisfied, and that's the eagerness with which you come. You know, it's like a buffet from which you get to choose, and you feel certain. Certain, that's the word that we want.
I think it's like the trust and the certainty that I came here.
You're starting in a very good place, because, you know, that trust is there, and as it erodes, you feel the erosion of it, but you don't know what to do about it, and that's what we talk about. When you know you're worthy, and then you're in this body, and someone who's forgotten it, or been taught by someone who's forgotten it, is sure that they're not worthy and neither are you, and they say to you, you are not worthy, and you hear it, you feel bad. Because that's not what you know. But the point that we're making here, we really like where we think you're going. We like where we're dragging you to anyway. Is that knowing then, if you focused enough on other people that don't know that, could become less knowing. So instead of something feeling certain, it might feel probable, or it might feel less like possible, or it might feel unlikely. In other words, it depends on how much you water it down with human stuff. Human stuff is really big at watering down sure stuff. You were born to have prosperity, but you talk smack about rich people all day long. And every time you criticize someone who's prosperous, you erode your ability to attract prosperity. Every time.